for Mayor Matt Barrick, who's in studio. How you doing, man?
Good afternoon.
All right. Yeah, our baseball team sucks, so let's get by it.
Your baseball team?
Mine sucks really bad.
Mine's in third place. We're still above 500.
It's the Cubs suck bad, and they suck wicked
we
bad.
actually played the Brewers pretty well the last few days.
You're 11 games out in late August.
But we still played the Brewers well.
Wow, you ought to sell cars, man. We played the Brewers well. How many did you lose?
I think you made it pretty clear to me that I shouldn't sell cars when you told me how good you were at it.
I was at it. I was pretty good at it.
But yet, here you are.
Here, yes, still talking. I was never good at anything but talking. Yeah. Anyway, we have such a thing here, and I took you to task a little earlier about this. I took you to task.
Were you beating me up today?
I was beating you up. Yeah.
Oh,
well, Nevin
Mulholland
beat me up. He was just being mean and just spiteful, and so I thought I'd beat you up in return. No, the reason I was beating you up was I didn't understand why you were lending the prestige of your office of mayor to this event up in North 9th Street. Do they call it Unity Park up there? It's an empty lot.
Yeah, it's an empty lot. I mean, I think it kind of has been labeled Unity Park by
the people who put it together. Yeah. Well, I don't know
it's not an official park.
No, it certainly isn't. Yeah. I believe it's privately owned, isn't it?
Well, the city owns that lot.
Oh, the city does own that lot.
That's
okay.
Our lot.
Okay. They seem to associate themselves with rioters in the Twin Cities area.
Rioters, or
they're not peaceful protesters.
Well, I don't know the gentlemen that are coming from Minneapolis. I don't know them.
Well, I can tell you what was said in the paper this morning. That
I read the paper.
Okay, there was looting going. If you're looting, you're rioting.
Well, I don't think she was alluding that the two guys.
She was not.
Were looters.
She was not. But
she was alluding that there was looting going on.
Looting going on.
Yeah.
But they were definitely part of a demonstration where looting was part of the scenario.
That doesn't mean they were looting. There's lots of times
maybe they weren't.
I mean, that'd be like blaming every Trump person for what happened on the day that the Capitol was stormed.
People do, but
there was people that were there that were completely there for the reason they thought was the right reason, and when the bad things started happening, they backed off.
You're the first person I've ever heard say that. Now, now I knew you were going to do this. You were going to diminish it. You were going to diminish it. You were going to dismiss it.
I'm not diminishing rioting, looting, attacking our Capitol. I'm not diminishing any of that. I'm just saying there's two groups of people at almost everything that happens that goes south in a way. Yeah. There's the people that participate in it going south, and there's the people that walk away. So, I mean, you don't know what side of that coin anybody was on.
I just heard
either of those occasions.
I heard a big hair split there, Matt.
You did not.
No.
Are you in one of your moods today?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Let's get that clear. All right.
What does the group that you're going to speak to, what do they represent?
I don't know. That's why we're going to.
Why are you speaking there?
Well, I was asked to.
They could be Klansmen.
No, that's come on, Klansmen.
No, that is
now you're really reaching.
That is absurd. But say there was
let's say there was I was invited by the Klan to speak at an event. I would tell them no.
Oh, you would?
Yeah.
Okay. How about the American Nazi Party? Would you refuse?
I would tell them
the Communist Party.
I would tell them no.
The Radical Lutheran Party.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I don't either. there's no such group. I just made it up. No,
you're good at that.
But that sounds unusual coming from you, Matt. You don't know what the group's about, but you're going to speak.
No, the Hovey girl contacted me and said she wanted to have some kind of a community dialogue. She didn't know what it was going to entail, but they wanted to talk mostly about gun violence, what's happened in the cities, what has happened in Fort Dodge related to gun violence, and what things can be done to curb it, stop it, change a social outlook on it, whatever it might be. And I've participated in lots of things like that. I also asked her, is this about diversity, about inclusion, things like that? And she said, yeah. And I said, well, that's no different than other events I've gone to.
So what are you going to say? Hey,
I don't know. We're going to have a conversation. I'm not going to drive the conversation. I wasn't asked to be like the moderator or anything. I was asked to participate.
You were going to speak to the group.
No, I'm not speaking to the group.
You're not speaking to the group.
My understanding is it's a true sit down and have an open dialogue, and they're going to have a microphone and pass it around and let people ask questions, let people make comments, respond to those things.
No, I think this is liberal Matt creeping to the
No,
surface.
it's not.
Little
Oh, you are just crazy. Just crazy. So,
liberal Matt.
so is this? So I got a text earlier today that you were calling me an activist today. Is that what you were?
I was
calling me today?
suspecting you of being an activist.
Well, hey, let me tell you what. As mayor, I am the biggest community activist you will ever make.
But that's in
my
a
job.
that's in a different tense, Matt. That's in a different tense. I'm kind of thinking that that I'm going to see in the street yelling
I
black.
mean, I've gone to conservative, open dialogue things. I've gone to
Where are those been?
Democratic. I've been to all kinds of things.
Or
over the
where
years.
have
I mean,
the
I've been in office 16 years.
I know, but
Well,
where have the
God, give me a
conservatives
break.
where are the conservatives congregating and
Um,
having an open dialogue? Because I should have been invited. I feel.
Well, I was just well, I mean, you're asking me to like name like a time that somebody filled like an arena or something.
Of course,
I go to
I'm
all
not.
kinds of different things. I was just with Ann Myers last week talking about adult daycare. Oh, was that last week or the week before? They all run. My weeks run together, but I was talking about adult daycare. I go to all kinds of different things, Mike. I mean, they don't all get published in the newspaper the day I go to them or the day before or after. Adult daycare was covered in the paper.
See, you just named off a lot of things, and you knew what the topic or the main point was. You don't seem to know what the main point of this
The main
group is.
point of this, from my understanding, is talk about gun violence.
Okay.
And if you've paid any attention to Leah Hovey's post, most of them are about things going on in Minneapolis that are things related to curbing gun violence. She posted something about there was some basketball kind of gala thing that was a unity celebration, stop gun violence.
Mm-hmm.
So most of what she's been talking to me about has been about gun violence. How do you prevent it? What do you do to stop it? I mean, I've had the same kind of dialogues in this community with our police chief. I mean, if you go back a few years, we had a number of shootings in a row, like in a couple week period. There was like 3 or 4 in a row, where either shots were fired, people were injured, or there was calls because of shots fired.
So this is an anti-gun rally.
No, an anti-gun rally. So now we're going from curb gun violence means you're anti-gun. Well, first of all, I'm not anti-gun. I own probably as many guns, if not more, than you do.
I don't think so.
Yeah, we don't know. We've never counted.
I guess not.
But I own plenty of guns.
All right.
I'm not an anti-gun person.
All right.
You're just trying to stump me here, aren't you?
Well, I'm doing a pretty good job,
Oh,
too.
you're-
Because
you're
you
just-
don't. You did. This is white liberal guilt in action here,
No,
ladies and
oh,
gentlemen.
that is bull. You almost got me to say the S
Okay,
word.
yeah, don't get the S word. Family radio.
So it's bull that I'm going to go have an open dialogue. So if I go meet with anybody that is not white, it's somehow white liberal guilt.
I knew.
That's what it is. That's how you define.
I know the Hovey family. They're white people.
Yeah.
So I don't know where you're going.
Yeah,
with
so
that.
if I go meet with anybody that's not white to discuss anything about a social issue in our community, that's white guilt. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, but I suspect you of it. I suspect you of
Really?
it. Is that Catholic mafia thing coming out in you again?
Catholic mafia.
Yeah, that's a little liberal stuff you got
you
going
are
on.
really stretching things today.
No, I'm not.
Yeah,
No,
you
you know exactly
you
what I'm
are
talking
Stretch
about.
Armstrong
You know exactly what I'm
I
talking
do
about.
not know
Yes,
what you're
you
talking
do.
about. You're trying to invent something and create a dialogue. So, what are you worried no one's listening today, or
No,
what?
no, I had the usual suspects. Nikki Conrad was listening today,
Really?
who's also Supervisor Conrad will be there.
Is
on
she an
Sunday.
activist as well?
No, she's a
Oh.
member. She is a member of the County Board of Supervisors.
And she was asked to go there for the same reason I was.
They didn't ask Dave Black, take it. But yeah, anyway.
Well, that's in her district.
That is her district. What I'm saying is, and you know this, the County Board of Supervisors, even by itself, and the City Council and the Board of Education, none of these people are seen as the figurehead or spokesman for our town. You are. You're the mayor of Fort Dodge.
Okay.
You have the prestige of your office. You seem to be lending it to a cause that you're not too familiar with. I know you want to say about open dialogue, but open dialogue about gun violence, that's what? And we're inviting activists from Minneapolis, I'll call them
Well, I didn't invite anyone.
Okay, but there, you know who's going to be there. Did you ever ask why they're there?
Well, she invited them. The one gentleman is a
That's
former
not
Iowa
the
Central
point.
student.
She
That lived
invited
here.
them. Come on, that's not very.
She
good.
invited
That's not very good.
Not I invited them.
Okay.
They were invited by her.
Yeah.
She's trying to get people to come to that park and donate items that she wants to give back to the community,
All right.
which is a
Worthy
common
cause.
thing you see done in Minneapolis,
Worthy
or
cause.
was being done in
Right.
Minneapolis. I think still going on in Minneapolis, because I talked to somebody with a church group today. Their son's very active in Minneapolis, and they're still doing it once or twice a week, where they bring people in and they try to give them household goods, whether it be cleaning products, hygiene products, some canned food, different things like that. She's kind of copying that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Is that a bad thing?
No, that's not a bad thing. Here.
Well, by having these two guys come from Minneapolis, myself and Nikki there, she now is trying to draw a crowd. Okay, there's going to be this conversation about whether it's gun violence, diversity, inclusion, community unity. There's going to be a dialogue that would interest some people to come there, and hopefully they bring some things to donate.
What does inclusion and diversity mean? Can you define those things?
Well, inclusion means that your community is trying to be inclusive to
To who?
to
Everyone.
anyone,
Okay.
anyone, no matter
All
what
right.
color, what age, what sex they are.
That's very nice.
It's inclusive.
Now, what's the next step after we've decided
well,
what
and
color?
the next step isn't the mayor's responsibility solely. It's the community's responsibility.
Yes, it is.
Okay. The
But
mayor,
you as-
mayor, I may be a spokesperson for
Yes.
inclusion and diversity
That's right.
and curbing gun violence, but it takes a community to do that.
That's right.
How do you get the community to do things like that? You have to have dialogue. You have to have things that energize people to want to get involved, change how a community responds to a shooting, change a community's response to violent crime, whether it's a black crime, a white crime, any color crime. How does a community react to it? Do they react to it and we're going to stop these things from happening, or we're going to work with the police to help stop them happening? That's the kind of conversation I hope it ends up being. So, do I know what this conversation is going to be? No, I don't.
Okay. So,
and I don't think you could define what the conversation is going to be ahead of time, because typically when you're going to sit down and have an open dialogue and you have some topics you're going to try to cover, the conversation will lead to what ultimately you discuss, whether it's how do we stop it, how's it being committed, what's perpetrating it, is it an education issue, is it a financial issue, is it a drug issue? I mean, those are the things you're hoping to have conversation about to get to root cause. And once you get to a root cause, then it's really up to myself, the council, our police department, and a community to respond to those things.
so you have decided as mayor, it is your responsibility to speak favorably of what you define as inclusion.
Yes,
Okay.
that's not a bad thing.
What is the root cause then of our problem?
Well, if I knew that, we would be working on it.
Well, do you expect to get the answer from this group on Sunday?
No, but you never get to a complete answer. First of all, you name me a place that has defined the root cause of all their violence, whether it be gun violence or just violence in general, and they've fixed it.
People get
You
mad
name
and
it.
shoot people.
Yeah,
That's
it
what-
it's-
that's what
it
happened.
I understand it, but is there things that could have been done to prevent some of those things?
Most of the shootings, probably not.
You don't think so?
I don't really think so. If somebody can profit by shooting someone,
Well,
by shooting,
but you're saying they're going to profit. It's not. Profit is often.
are you
never
going to let
a
me finish?
motivator.
Now you asked me a question. I don't know why you're asking me questions. I'm supposed to ask you questions.
Well,
But yes, as long as you
I've been on this show for 12 years.
Yes, you have.
I'm entitled to ask you almost any question I want.
says you. But if you do ask me a question, and I do this with you, I allow you to answer it. So I think that this is part of the human condition. If you want to talk about poverty, I know about poverty. I probably know more about poverty from personal experience than most of the people that are going to show up down there. I can guarantee you, certainly most of the white people, if not all of the white people. Sometimes people shoot people. It's who human beings are. For you and I, that is morally unacceptable. that is
I
morally.
agree.
Although I
We don't
would,
want that.
no, we don't. Although I think you'd agree, there's a lot of people who need to be shot.
No, we would not agree. But thanks for answering your question with my answer.
Oh, come on! What do you got all those guns for?
Hunting.
All of them.
No.
You own pistols,
I
right?
own some pistols.
I was gonna say.
What do you shoot?
What do you hunt with pistols? Are you a racist?
No.
I
I
am having so much.
on a roll today. Isn't today the day you talked to Janice? Didn't she?
Didn't
calm
I?
you
I did
down?
talk now.
Normally, she's really good about getting you like all even keeled before.
Oh,
I-
she is. She's.
Yeah.
I really
Well,
like.
I'm
Janice.
not. She's normally on Thursday too. Isn't
Yeah,
she?
she's normally on Thursday. No, she's usually on Friday. A big
Is
part.
she?
Yeah, she's usually. All right, Matt Bremerick is on the air with us, and if you'd like to ask the mayor a question, it's 955-1400. And by the way, we're also on. We're streaming today on my Facebook page, Michael Devine, or AM 1400 KBFD, the voice of
Somebody wants
the
to talk.
and somebody wants to talk to us. So let's go. You AM 1400 KBFD. You're on the air with the mayor.
Can you give me a heads up on the road closure for the bridge?
I'm sorry. What? Say that again, please.
A heads up on the road closure for the bridge on 826.
A heads up on the road closure of the bridge at where did you say?
The bridge.
The bridge.
Are you talking about the hospital bridge? Kenyon Road?
Yeah, Kenyon Road.
Well, we had a water main break there. They had to tear up a water main, so they had to close part of the bridge.
Well, they're saying it's gonna be closed 826 for a month.
Oh, you're talking about the bridge work. Yeah. Yeah. There's going to be a whole period of time that's closed. But it was closed this week because of a water main break. There was a period of time it was closed this week also.
But we're gonna have a month of that bridge closed.
You know the
We've
map.
been working on that deal.
Well, I mean, the DOT and the city had to coordinate when that work was going to get done. So yeah, that's.
Are you
what's
kidding me,
happening.
buddy? The mayor and I just spent 20 minutes barking at each other over a meeting coming up, and you're asking me about a bridge?
No, he's asking me
You're
about
asking-
Bridge,
He's not asking.
to get around town, back and forth.
Okay. All right.
I understand it's a very big inconvenience, but it's got to be closed because you've got to do the repairs to it.
But you gotta make half of it work for, you know,
Why just listen to the Defiant Intervention show when you can watch it? The Blue Ribbon Pellet Water Studio is now streaming video. Check out the show.
All right, it's 4:39. Matt Bemrick, the mayor of Fort Dodge, is here. So we have a question or comment for Matt Bemrick. It's 515-955-1400. Now that we've established that you're kind of a commie liberal, let's move
What does
on.
that make you?
I'm
What are you?
don't you hear? I'm an American.
Oh,
I am.
I'm not an American.
You're looking a little Soviet.
We're gonna have to go down on Central Avenue and have a cage match.
Okay.
Don't think I'm American.
Oh no. I think you're American. I just think you're part of the Catholic
It's not
Mafia.
as-
And see, there it is.
It's good at one as you.
What I'll tell you,
Are you the best American you can be?
I'm the best American that I can be. Yeah, I'm just happy that I'm just trying to be the best me that I can be. I hate people that talk like that. I like to beat them up, but you liberals have made that illegal. You can't beat up liberals anymore. No, you can't. You can't beat up anybody.
So,
How weird is that?
yeah, I don't know.
Just
I guess I don't have the same thought of it that you're labeling.
you
American.
beat up people.
I have been in a fight or two.
Yeah, and you won too, didn't you? You beat them up. Did you
not-
beat them up because they were Presbyterian or what?
You're the caller right before the break. So in retrospect, I was thinking back on this. The DOT was the one that decided to do that. It wasn't the city. The DOT came to the city and said they had to do it. We asked the same question he asked me, which why didn't you leave one side open versus the other? They had a reason. I don't know what exactly that is. I cannot remember it. But they would be able to answer that, the DOT, not the city, because the city's not closing that bridge. The city's announcing the bridge is going to be closed, but we're doing that to inform the community. The DOT is the reason it's being closed. They still control the bridge, both those bridges. There's the bridge over the river, then there's the bridge over the railroad. So,
My most memorable fight is one that lasted,
we're back to fighting.
yes, yeah. Be careful, Presbyterians. Bemrick's coming after you.
I don't have anything against Presbyterians.
No, I was talking too loud, and this guy knocked me out with a single punch. But that's not where the fight ended. He proceeded to really kick the hell out of me. He really did.
I have been beat up twice
Have you been beat up twice? Oh, I said
in my life.
he wore Wolverine boots. Remember Wolverine
Oh
boots?
yeah.
And there was
Land Rovers were the thing of my
Okay.
day. Land Rovers.
Wolverine boots. He was wearing a Wolverine boot, and there was a imprint of a Wolverine boot on my chest
On
for
your
about,
chest?
for about a week.
Ooh, that's a good bruise there.
And all the teeth on the left side of my face were loose.
Hmm.
And I asked my friends why, and he said, well, he kept kicking you on that side of your face. And that's
While you were unconscious.
while I was unconscious. Yeah, he was kind of a big tick-off guy. So he looked like a redheaded Clint Eastwood. I was running my mouth. And,
Picture that.
yeah, redheaded. Yeah, that's exactly. I was running my mouth at him, and he stood up and he ripped off his T-shirt. That's never a sign, a good sign. He was like 6'4".
That's when you realized you were about to get your butt kicked.
Well, I tell you, my first thought. He stood up, and his eyes were blazing, and he ripped off his T-shirt, and I thought, oh. I'm not kidding. That's exactly what I was. And that's the last thing I remember for several minutes. But anyway.
Your friends didn't stop him from being.
They did, but they were kind of small guys, and he was really swinging. Well, I'll tell you. Yeah, they were trying to stop him, but he got in several good kicks and stomps and the whole thing.
Do you remember what caused him to do that?
I have no real idea anymore. It wasn't.
So it wasn't your fault.
Oh, yes, it was.
Oh.
As
At
a
least
matter of
you
fact,
accept that.
when my son and his friends were growing up, I said, and they'd want to talk about being tough and fighting. Did you ever get any brawls, Mr. Glenn? Oh, yeah, let me tell you about this one. Before you start getting too carried away with how great fighting is, here's my story. And a few years later, I had to get my nose fixed.
I haven't been in a fight since I was 25.
Really?
Yeah.
I was 42,
At a
which is,
wedding.
oh,
which is
no,
never good.
that's tacky.
Yeah.
That's
Very-
really tacky.
Yeah, that was my fault.
It wasn't.
Well, it wasn't my. I had plenty of blame.
Yeah.
So did the other.
You
I
liked
did not hit first. I was hit first.
Oh, did you win the fight at least?
Oh, I ended it.
Okay, well, good. It's
But
one thing to get in
I
fight.
definitely was. It's a bad story. It's
Yeah.
not a good story.
You want to tell it
No,
now?
I'm not telling it.
Okay. It wasn't your wedding, was it?
It was not my wedding. No.
Wasn't one of your sisters or your brothers or?
No.
Okay,
It
that's
was a
good.
family wedding, but it wasn't my immediate family.
It's one thing to get in a fight at a wedding. It's another one to get beat up at a wedding.
Well, I got punched. And
Well, then that's
then
a-
I punched back, and that
Was that pretty close to it?
no, it didn't. It escalated, and there was rolling around. And
Oh, in the tux?
it
No,
was
no. Were you in a
dragging
tux?
hard. No, I was not. I was in a suit.
You were dragging what?
There was some people dragging people apart.
Oh, well, yeah, that's. Yeah, I don't think I ever got in a fight at a funeral.
No, I haven't seen a funeral fight.
A guy
I've seen a
did.
couple wedding fights
Yeah, have you?
in my life.
Never seen one of those either. A guy came up to me at a wedding and tried to start some business with me. And I said, you know, you're really low class. If you want to go somewhere after the wedding and settle this, we will.
Yeah.
Never saw him again.
I didn't get that chance. I just got punched.
Well, if you got punched, you got punched. You know, you got to do something about it.
I said a few things to somebody that they deserved, and then they basically came up behind me and did the old tap on the shoulder, turn around, pop.
Oh, you hate that, don't you?
I said, if you can't hit harder than that, you're in trouble. And then I dove, and that's when everybody noticed what was going on. So
I got in a fight once where I knocked a guy down 3 times. And then after the fight, he came over to me and said, you sure can't.
Why are we talking about
Because we're having a conversation.
It's a weird conversation.
It is a weird conversation. I knocked him down 3 times. And after everything was over and done with, he came over and said to me, you know, you really can't hit that hard.
That's what I said to this guy.
You really can't. I knocked
That's
you
all
down
you
3
got.
times.
You got a problem.
Well, I knocked you down 3 times. Well, yeah, but you can't hit.
That was the last time I've ever done anything even remotely close to that.
Oh, is that right? You're 25
I've
years old.
stopped some fights since then, but I've never been involved in one.
Oh.
When that happened, I was like, I don't ever want to be part of another thing like that ever again. And I haven't.
Last fight I got into.
stopped them, but I haven't been involved. In it.
Last fight I got into, I was 42. I take no pleasure.
42?
40. Yeah, I take no
It's getting up
pleasure.
there.
It is, and I take
I've
no
been in some
pleasure.
yelling matches, like some barking, but never a fight.
You know, it's one thing for young guys to scrap, but when you're 42 and you get into a duke out, I mean, it's just. I mean, unfortunately, I
A
won.
little
But,
unbecoming of
It was.
your age. Yeah.
yeah, and that was years ago.
Yeah, you're supposed to have kind of grown up by that. You get it out of your system in your 20s, and you become a family man, and you want to.
I think I called him out, and I didn't think he'd come out, but he did. It was my mistake. You know, this is the way. There used to be a lot of fights in Fort Dodge when I first got here.
Growing up in high school, it seemed like that was like a Friday night event.
Sure,
You know,
it
there
was.
was always a fight somewhere. Somebody was fighting somebody, or this was going on, or that was going on. It was just kind of part of our culture, I guess.
I think it was. It was part of the
And
culture of
you've
Fort
seen
Dodge.
that culture kind of shift. I mean, you see people just don't do that stuff.
No, they don't. Well, you liberals screwed it all up. You started arresting us. Gosh, started getting a fine. It took all the fun out of it.
Oh boy.
There was a place out on Highway 20, the Oxbow or something, when I first got to town. Man, there was always somebody out there scrapping. It wasn't the
Where-
Oxbow.
where
It was
was
something. It was something. I was out where Payless Cashways used to be. You know, there on
Oh
that
yeah,
corner.
up there where by the post office.
Yeah, yeah, in there somewhere.
Oh yeah, I remember. What was that called when I was a young?
Yeah, yeah. It closed in the 80s sometimes.
Yeah, I remember.
So if somebody remembers that old bar on Highway 20, it was kind of what the bikers hung out there a little bit.
It's like right across from where McCountry is, and like you got Brown Supply. It was like
I don't think it was
right-
down that far,
right,
was it?
Right next to there was Big Bear.
Yeah,
Big Bear,
Big Bear.
and it was right down from there, wasn't it?
I thought it was across from Carnation, where Carnation is now. But
that was,
I could
that
be wrong.
was Tremors, and before that it was like the Rainforest and all that.
Oh no, I know that was the Disco Den, and it was it was Rainforest. That was Don Gunderson's deal.
Yeah.
And
So you're saying it was further east of that?
further west, I thought.
West.
Yeah,
Okay, down towards like where Lomita's is.
yeah, closer
Before the railroad track.
before the road.
I don't recall that.
Yeah, that was.
Oxbow.
No, it wasn't the Oxbow. If somebody remembers what I'm talking about,
He doesn't.
because I don't remember. Well, the place closed years ago. Besides, I was drinking when I went in there, and I hardly remember anything anyway. I mean, the 70s really are a concept to me. They're really more of a theory, you know?
Theory.
Yeah, or something. I don't know what to say. I don't.
So we got a bunch of stuff on the agenda Monday night. I
Yes.
was
Okay.
trying to get through there earlier so I could come on your show and articulate some of the stuff, but I didn't make it very far. I was busy with some work stuff, but we have some stuff with the downtown camera system. awarding a contract to Iowa Fire Control for $195,000 to install some camera systems in the downtown. That's been a thing that we've talked about to make downtown a safer area in our community. So that's one of the items that's on there. The parking is back on the agenda for the second reading, and we'll see if the council's willing to waive the third reading, which I would hope so. Got all those questions answered from David on that after 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. parking. So like the bars, restaurants can use those parking lots. That was a point of contention or an issue that was brought up.
Okay.
Trying to see what else was there I was going to bring up on here. Mike's looking at his phone too. So
Well, I'm trying to. It wasn't the Oxbow. It was something else. I'm trying to find old
that's
bars.
his primary concern, not the city business.
No,
And I'm
yeah.
on here to
Well, you're the
discuss.
city business. You're the city business expert. I'm the old redneck.
Oh, I
guy.
am?
Yeah,
I
I'm the
thought
old
Mickey
redneck.
was
guy.
the city business expert.
Well, he and Furyk are.
Yeah,
Very.
I agree with you.
You know, Furyk's gotten comfortable with me. It took him a while, but he comes in and we have a great conversation.
That's good.
Yeah.
Does he do a half-hour show?
He does. If he would be willing to do it, I'd put him on for 40 minutes.
Oh, and we've got an MOU that we're getting started with.
MOU is what now? I know what it is.
Memorandum
Of understanding, right?
with the city of Manson. They've been trying to drill some wells for a number of years with no success. So we actually are working with them with the idea of potentially running a water line from about where the ag park is now, where we have water all the way to Manson,
Okay.
to take water to Manson because they've struggled drilling some wells. So we're going to enter an MOU with them and do some work to see what it would cost, see if there's some money out there that we can get from the feds, different areas to potentially run a water line there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, they're in that crater, or where that crater hit, and they've always had some different issues with the water table there and the ability to drill wells.
All right.
Yeah. There's a
Supervisor.
couple interesting things on the council agenda.
The first segment we did, the 410 to 430 segment.
Yeah.
It's always recorded, StreamYard, something. I see Supervisor Conrad posted on her Facebook page, which is fine. People repost what I say a lot, saying,
Yeah.
look what this evil man has done or said or whatever. Usually,
Look what this, I would say, look at what this guy's doing. I guess I wouldn't call you evil. You're generally well intended. You're generally pretty well intended.
that's a ringing endorsement. A ringing endorsement. I wouldn't
I would
necessarily.
say you're an
Just
instigator.
bad.
Real bad instigator.
All
You're
right.
like, let me find an issue that could annoy the crap out of Matt, and I'm gonna poke and poke and poke at it.
Well, I don't do that often. I don't.
No, not really. Not
No.
as much as I think. There was a period of time where you and I were going round and round and round and round.
Yeah, there
I don't
was.
remember what the topic.
But
was
for years when you first were elected mayor, we were in agreement on a lot of things. We were always
most
bashing
of
the
the time.
the council at the time.
9 out of 10 times we agree on the city side of things. We don't agree on some national or state things. Like I think I heard somebody, or maybe it was a Facebook post you made or something, of one of your segments where you were talking about the governor. And well, no, it was, you had Janice on earlier.
Okay.
I did catch part of that. And you were talking about the governor basically thumbing her nose at the president, saying, stay out of states' rights.
And I agree with the governor.
And I do too, but I also agree with Janice that the state often interferes in local government.
Yes, they do.
So, you can't have it both ways. You can't say, hey, stay out of my backyard, but I'm going to meddle in this backyard.
Well,
And I get my backyard is part of the state, but the state is also part of a country. So, I mean, there's some lines that both entities, the federal government and the state government, probably shouldn't always cross. And I kind of agree with Janice. Local government has a pulse on things that the state doesn't often have. Now, did local governments do things that sometimes prevent or are politically motivated versus something in the best interest of the constituency that they serve? Yes. And I know that's why the state would want to regulate or say local government shouldn't have certain controls. But you're punishing all government for small groups of bad government.
Dave Mulbauer, and I met him a couple of weeks ago. He's a Democratic candidate for the U.S. Senate.
Okay.
And nice young
I have
man.
not met him.
Nice young man, farmer, 38 years old, very sincere. I told him there's not going to be a white guy, sorry, elected to the Democratic nomination for the U.S. Senate. Might as well get it. But he,
Iowa?
yeah, no,
Why?
I mean, because the Democratic Party in Iowa is going to nominate a woman, probably a white woman. Dave talked about bringing back, as far as gun control is concerned, Dave is in favor of letting the county sheriffs decide who gets a concealed permit to carry. And I'm opposed to that idea. Luke Flinter's a great guy. I don't know, in Stubbs before him and Michelson before him, they were good guys. And I haven't met a county sheriff yet that was a total creep. But I really believe that carrying a weapon is a constitutionally guaranteed freedom. And a county sheriff and no county official, state official, should have a say in that. So when we start talking about federalism, and that's what we're talking about when we talk about education, that's clearly in the Constitution, is that the states have these rights and the feds have these rights. So I would agree on moral grounds, first of all, with Governor Reynolds, and certainly on constitutional grounds. She seems to have the upper hand when it comes to that argument. Now, there is another
I do agree with you.
Right.
I agree wholeheartedly that states should have the right to do what they think is in the interest of their state, based on their state's constitution. Now, when it comes down to local government, I think states are supposed to create laws that prohibit local government from doing things that are against state law. But when they start creating state laws in order to hinder local government from having local input to control its own destiny with something related to health or this COVID stuff, I think that is an overreach by state government.
That could be. Yeah, you might have an argument there. By the way, when I mentioned that Supervisor Conrad reposted our conversation earlier, that's perfectly all right with me, because Nikki Conrad can no longer do bad or wrong in my eyes, period, end of story. Well, because she helped me out when I asked COVID, and her and I had, she really did. She was over the house a lot and continues to text me and ask about my health, so she can't do any wrong. I don't care. I don't care if she's a devil worshiper. She can do no wrong.
Well, I'm pretty confident she's not.
I'm pretty confident she's not. She's part of the what? Say, she's part of the what? Catholic Mafia. Come on, you are.
She is?
A secret underground society is operating in Fort Dodge. Matt Bemrick's the
I
head.
don't know what this Catholic Mafia is that you've invented. It's a great catch thing for you for your show.
You know what I'm talking about.
Eight possible listeners that might buy into a conspiracy theory.
You know what I'm talking about.
You love
And by the way,
conspiracy drives your show. That's
hey,
how it
a
works.
lot of people in this town think there's a Catholic Mafia. You know that. All right. Matt, thank you so much. It was a stimulating conversation.
It was
today.
interesting.
Yeah, the last couple of conversations we had were kind of boring, so I thought,
this one was a little lively.
A little lively. All right. Well, have a great weekend.
You too.
This is AM 1400 KVFD.
Find Intervention is online at yourfortdodge.com, on Twitter at JMike14.
It's 4:58.
Attorney
Thanks, Matt. It was a
For
great
many
show.
men, horse brain safety.
I suppose I'm going to have to come down to the meeting on Sunday to
feel-
defend my virtue.
Your virtue.
Yeah. Don't say it like